Denver probably isn't the first city that comes to mind in terms of North American regions with large transit systems, but its rail system has expanded at breakneck pace since first opening in the 90s. Today we'll be taking a look at this unusual transit network and considering where additional investment still needs to be made. The Denver RTD first opened its light rail system in 1994, and now comprises 4 corridors radiating from downtown, as well as the short streetcar-like L line and an orbital route through the eastern suburbs. Extensive interlining means that trains on most lines used to alternate between serving Denver's central business district and Union Station, located about a half a mile away in Lodo. Post-COVID, all trains on the southwestern branch now head to downtown, while riders on the southeastern branch continue to have direct train service to both Union Station and downtown Denver. This creates reverse branching, a system layout that can be inefficient to operate. For example, northbound trains pass through the I-25 and Broadway interchange every 5 minutes, but to a rider bound for Ball Arena or Union Station, 2/3 of these trains are useless. Even worse, the Western W line and all 4 northern regional rail lines only serve Union Station, despite the fact that the majority of rail riders want to travel to Denver's primary center, downtown. To deal with this, a BRT circulator connects the transit hubs at Union Station and Civic Center with the core of downtown. The route is by far the most frequent service RTD operates, and somewhat laughably also carries more people every day than any of the rail lines. This calls into question whether the extensive suburban rail network was really the best use of public funds. Also worth questioning are the almost lazily constructed alignments, with problematic 90-degree turns found across the network. Among Denver's dubious transportation infrastructure projects, the most notable isn't a public transit project at all. The region hosts the last all-new international airport constructed in the United States, located a remarkable 20 miles from downtown. While inconvenient for airport travelers, the location also presented a transit opportunity. Today, the A line to the airport is the busiest rail line in the RTD system, and its termini at Union Station and the airport are the 2 busiest stations on the network. The service is fast and uses electrified commuter trains running every 15 minutes all day. In this rare niche, RTD has managed to create a very successful transit line and a model for cities across the country. Denver's massive rail network is clearly intended to serve the suburbs and link them to the city center, but the poor connectivity in downtown limits the usefulness of these services. Ideally, every single train should take riders to both downtown Denver and the Union Station Transit Hub. It is tempting to consider building a tunnel through the core, allowing the 4 northern commuter rail branches to through-run onto the 4 southern radials of the light rail system, but these 2 networks are incompatible, and as such this would not be viable. Instead, trains from the north and south need to each approach downtown, circle through it, and go back the way they came. Fortunately, cities in Australia know a thing or two about that. In Melbourne, the main rail hub of Flinders Street is also located a little over a half mile from parts of the central business district. All suburban trains serve Flinders Street, with some then entering a tunnel known as the City Loop and serving 3 stations in the city center before heading back out into the suburbs. Some trains run clockwise and others counterclockwise, providing a subway-like service within the core of Melbourne that connects to every major destination. So how could a similar solution work in Denver? I envision roughly 2.5 miles of new 2-way tunnels, unifying Denver's rail system into one network. Looking first at the commuter rail network, trains would enter a tunnel and turn south just before Union, stopping at underground stations at Market, 16th Street City Center, and Larimer Square. At the top of the loop, trains would serve a new underground platform at Union before resurfacing and heading back out into the suburbs. With trains every 15 minutes on the A, G, and extended N lines, there would be 5-minute service on the clockwise loop track. The B line to Boulder and Longmont would likely not run every 15 minutes, so for scheduling simplicity I've kept it running into the existing platforms at Union Station. There are 8 tracks here, so this freed up space could be used for new intercity services as well. As for the light rail system, a flying junction would allow W line trains to meet the D, E, and H lines at a new trench station at Auraria South. Trains would then enter the tunnel, running counterclockwise to serve the same 4 stations as the commuter trains. All stations would offer cross-platform transfers, allowing passengers to easily change from the high-floor commuter rail network to the low-floor light rail network. The existing surface alignments could be taken over by the fake Gold Line, which would act as another circulator to complement the mall ride. Oh, and while we're at it, we have to extend the real Gold Line to Golden because, of course, the miners are going to love it. So now all suburban trains serve the entirety of downtown. Yay! Unfortunately, there's still a pretty large gap in Denver's transit network, that being the entirety of Denver. You see, while the suburban lines all pass through the city to get to downtown, none really serve key urban destinations like medical centers, shopping malls, and City Park. The L line does serve some urban neighborhoods, but it barely extends 2 miles from downtown. Denver needs some high-quality urban transit lines. In terms of demand, the entire Colfax Corridor stands out as being obvious. It is dense by Denver's standards, with East Colfax being particularly notable given the absence of any nearby rail lines. BRT has long been planned on this corridor, but it is unclear when RTD will be able to deliver on this. With existing bus ridership already on par with the busiest rail lines, it is evident that East Colfax has plenty of unrealized potential, and could surely support a higher-order mode. I imagine an elevated light metro line, using automated train technology like London's DLR or the Vancouver SkyTrain. Such a line could begin at Union Station, most likely in a tunnel, then parallel the mall ride through downtown to the Civic Center Transit Center, connecting twice to the suburban rail tunnel. It could then turn east along Colfax, hitting dense urban neighborhoods and providing rail service to the aforementioned City Park. A deviation would bring trains to the Rose Medical Center. Passing through a promising TOD site, trains would exit the tunnel and transition to an elevated guideway, running down the wide median of Colfax. The end of the line would connect with the University of Colorado Hospital and the Colfax R Line station before terminating at Chambers Road in Aurora. While expensive, a rapid transit line down Colfax would no doubt prove wildly successful. The BRT route could also be included in this vision and extended along West Colfax, serving as an urban complement to the W line and our new line. We can do more than just this though. The massive urban center at Cherry Creek is completely unserved by rail transit. Looking at a map of employment density, another clear corridor begins to take shape. Branching from the core tunnel of the Colfax line, the second line can pass between the core neighborhood of Capitol Hill, then take over the eastbound lanes of Spear Boulevard to run elevated along Cherry Creek. After connecting with the Cherry Creek Shopping Center, the line would swing south along Colorado Boulevard, through areas with astounding TOD potential. Upon intersecting with the Southeast Rail Corridor at Colorado, the line would run along this unusual right-of-way, continuing on elevated guideways down Iliff and Parker to terminate at the 9-mile station. This 2-line metro system would hit all of Denver's largest urban destinations. Connecting them to the rest of the city means improving RTD's impressively lackluster bus system. Denver has the perfect urban form for a strong bus network. The massive radial rail system has stations located along major arterials, which are themselves organized in a predictable grid-like fashion. Bus speed along these corridors isn't awful, but frequencies need to be increased across the board. Additional improvements could be trialed on stronger corridors, such as dedicated lanes, off-board fare payment, and transit signal priority. Among the routes that I believe have the highest potential are the 15 and 16 along Colfax, the 83 on Parker, the 3 on Alameda, the 40 on Colorado, the 105 on Havana, the 31 on Federal, and the 76 on Wadsworth. The unusually numbered 0 bus is deserving of BRT-like improvements, which could probably be incorporated into a road diet for the monstrosity that is Broadway. Finally, we need to talk about the Flatiron Flyer, the frequent express bus between Boulder and Denver. This is a quite strong route which will continue to serve a critical role even after the completion of the B line in the 23rd century. With peak service every 10 minutes and off-peak every 15, the route would be just about ideal. Putting it all together, Denver's transit could effectively connect destinations across the region, with gaps in the network having been filled in. Buses, streetcars, urban and suburban trains are all integrated into a comprehensive RTD system. But these are just my thoughts. Feel free to let us know what you might do differently in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next one.